This is the one with balls of steel.
Dirty Lucy.
A paradox machine.
The Teletubbies.
And lessons in awareness from the Doctor.
It's called The Sound of Drums. Here we go.
We're still on our endless voyage, all through time and all through space.
With Levine and Angels now, Daleks, Cybers, and dude, wow.
Ben and Smith and Eccleston, Gallifrey, where it all began.
Doctor Who is cool again, that was Russell's master plan.
Who back when? Reviewing all new Who there is. Who back when?
Subscribe and rate on iTunes, please.
Rose and Donna, Amy Pond, Rory, Martha, and beyond. Join us on this odyssey. What other choice could there be than Who back when? Who back when?
Bing bong, Future Ponkin here with a quick apologetic intro. It's a two-parter. First off, apologies for the delay in dropping this episode. Yes, people have been hounding us about it. I'm very sorry. I moved house and as a consequence, also moved studio. And, ipso facto, there were delays. Sorry about that. Numero dos, there are some audio quality issues with this episode. That was the old studio which had a creaking table in it. The new studio, you will be pleased to hear, does not. And I'm sure that you'll be very chuffed with the audio quality going forward. I'm only saying this so that people don't send me mean messages, basically. Anyway, let's get on with it. Ciao. I mean, bing bong.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode N040. That's right, 40 of Who Back When, a Doctor Who podcast.
Or dog past.
And with me today are two fine upstanding reviewers of Doctor who you know well and love. To my left.
Hello, Ponkin here.
And to my right.
Nicolele here. How you doing, Podcast Land?
And who the hell are you?
Billy Big Balls.
Can't beat that. Figure it out, Podcast Land. We're here to review The Sound of Drums, the second of a three-parter, or not.
Have you guys watched part 3? Or rewatched part 3?
Well, not
2008.
rewatched. No, not rewatched.
Yeah, nor I. But the way that this one ends, it's clearly a 3-parter. Right?
Oh, indubitably.
Or are you still on the side of, it's a 2-parter and this is part 1 of that 2-parter?
That's how I feel.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
So much was set up in part 1 that has still to be resolved in part 1.
I mean, so much was there, but we left so much of the core characters of part 1 in part 1.
What are you talking about, Bug Lady?
Bug Lady and...
Derek Jacobi. Derek Jacobi.
Exactly.
Yes, but Derek Jacobi is still with us in spirit.
Is
Yeah.
it though? Did you feel him at all in The Sound of Drums?
I feel him most of the time.
Fucking right. There is a thematic connection, yes, but this is a 2-parter.
Oh, well...
John
okay,
Sim
fine.
wishes he were Derek Jacobi.
He does, don't
So
we
do
all?
I.
Yeah, don't we all?
Should we jump into a B-scale?
Yeah, let's do that.
Suddenly, Doc Martha and Captain Jack are not a million, trillion, gajillion, billion years in the future on the planet Malcasiro.
Instead, they're here. And now!
And Harold Saxon has just been elected Prime Master and is promising first contact with the Toclafane. Beescow over, you are welcome. I 100% remember who the Toclafane are.
Oh, I see.
I'm so sure that I remember this correctly, because I was saying this in part 1 of this 3-parter, that I think I know who they are, or what's going to happen,
I
or
mean,
whatever.
this is the other thematic connection that might well make your claim more valid.
I think so.
Still not. It's not strong enough.
Hey, what are you saying? You're saying this connects back to part 1 in some way?
Oh shit, are we spoiling it for you? I
But
haven't
there
re-
are 6 billion Toclafane, and I haven't seen 6 billion people yet, so I'm a bit confused.
Oh, wow.
Is that a mission of yours? Are you trying to...
I mean, I haven't seen 6 billion, extras who could conceivably be shoehorned into Toclafane balls.
Toclafane ball sounds great, by the way.
Unless you're talking about the planet. Maybe the Toclafane are Earth now.
Yeah, maybe. Because of the paradox machine.
So was there anything, as we are not doing this plot point by plot point, is there anything that stands out to you guys as the numero uno topic of conversation, the one thing that we absolutely positively have to talk about?
Well, surely John Sims' performance as the Master.
There we go, start us off.
Well, after the consummate acting performance from Derek Jacobi, where with such skillful artifice, drawing on decades of experience, he conveyed a good man, prey to a slowly rising sense of doubt, then menace, then evil, culminating in a marvellous reveal as a homicidal maniac, almost whisper, with a magnetic power over the camera. I actually quite like John Sim.
Oh, you have way too much time on your hands.
Alright, there's the weird, tutor session or something.
I thought he was better than the Doctor, whereas Tennant has been sort of revealed as a lot of sound and fury a lot of the time. I'm not listening, all that sort of stuff. I think Sim comes in and immediately does a better job.
I did get on board with the idea of John Sims. He seemed fucking psychotic this time around.
He did.
I think when I watched it in 2007, 2008, I was less keen, but seemed pretty unhinged.
From 2007/8, the only thing I remember thinking is, very much the way that I was thinking about Eccleston not being Tom Baker, I was thinking John Sim is not the master that I remembered from my childhood. But he is just comparing him to, what was the last episode called?
Utopia.
That's the one. Comparing him to those maybe 2 minutes of screen time that he got in Utopia, he's way better now.
Oh yeah, those were the worst possible 2 minutes that he could possibly have been introduced by.
Yeah.
Having said that, there were some scenes that were just overacted and weird. So, like, him revealing himself to be the master to the world and the Toxphane doing his bidding, kill the president, whatever. He's like, "All right, it's me."
Oh.
That was shit.
I thought it was okay there.
The scene that he murders the cabinet, that's pretty cool. That was a cool scene.
Oh, I didn't like that one.
Oh, I thought that was funny when he was doing the gas mask thing.
Yeah?
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
I was not a fan of that one at all.
Well, because in my head that was a Tory cabinet.
So it's fine.
I mean, it was just funny.
Yeah. I liked him because he's sly, he sneers, he mocks. These are all things I like.
He's also very silly at times.
With his faces.
Yeah, with his faces, yes, and just his mannerisms in general. He gives, obviously this is before them, but he gives, we may even have talked about this in the last review, but he gives off vibes along the lines of Moriarty in the new Sherlock.
Well, there's probably
there's
a precursor there. But
there's
also,
such an overlap between the production teams as well.
But also, Missy. This will be,
Yes.
hopefully this will be our only call forward.
Super duper good reference.
We're in the habit of doing, but I think, that psychotic whimsy.
Yeah.
So it's
true.
Probably born here.
Yeah, but I wonder if, I don't have that much experience of the classic Master. The Master that I recall from my childhood, I can't remember which actor it was that I remember, but he was way more dramatic. Like, he was, if we're doing Sherlock parallels, he was like the Jeremy Brett Sherlock, or the Moriarty of Sherlock. Like the very dramatic, he had pondus and gravitas.
Yeah.
He wasn't like a silly buffoon.
He was psychotic, but without the whimsy.
He was more grown up.
Yeah, exactly.
He was an adult, whereas here he's pulled down to Tennant's level.
Yeah, man-childery.
Exactly.
Better at it, though.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, he has a lot of range in this one. He's not just silly at all. I mean, he is just mad. Also, one thing I was thinking, do you think the Master's sexuality is born in this episode? Because I know we haven't seen classics, but how likely is it that the Master was going around snogging? All right, go with it. Go with it.
No, go for it.
No.
You're like quoting my first note. It's so why is it okay for the Prime Minister to snog his wife in public all the time, or to be super sexist? Yes, constantly.
Constant tongue.
Sex self.
The segue to his wife. So,
Who, by the way, right, and I know that we're not, that there's lots of other things to comment about.
absolutely,
Not only this character.
but yes, I agree with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we can move on.
Wait, hang on. By the way, who plays her? I definitely recognise that actress.
See, we saw her and we didn't think of the woman behind the part. Literally.
I'm gonna find her. I've got it.
Alexandra Moen,
Yeah.
Not a name I recognise.
who is in
Dickensian,
Foyle's War,
The Haunting of Ellie Rose,
an episode of Casualty,
8 episodes of Strike Back. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking of someone else.
an episode of Luther. She was in The Merchant of Venice in Chichester in 2003. If anyone,
Ooh,
she played Jessica.
Yes, she did.
She played the hell out of that role.
She was the best Jessica there that year.
Wasn't it? The Jessica in The Merchant of Venice.
Okay. Right, well, so
Yes.
clearly I did not recognise her.
So what else do we have to say about Alexandra's performance?
So how did you feel about the Mirror reporter, Torchwood agent, scene?
Well, okay, hang on. Before you answer that question, I have a question that might form the basis of your answer. Was she conspiring with him? Was she manipulated by him just like the rest of the human population? Or was she just, I guess, power hungry? She just wanted to be the quote-unquote first lady of Great Britain?
I would say it's a mixture of the second and the third. I don't think she set out to be evil, because Mrs. Rook says...
Well, she seems fairly okay with the human population being decimated.
She is, but I think that's after the Master has been working on her for a long time. You know, Mrs. Rook says her history is that she's just a slightly dim, upper-class scion looking for someone to lead her astray.
Right.
I know too much about the next one.
Oh, okay. That means she's manipulated. No? Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, we'll see.
Okay. I'm probably going to watch it this weekend.
In my ignorance, she's just... a palatial twit who fell in with the wrong crowd.
Well, actually, maybe the fact that... Okay, so you remember this. We don't remember this. Maybe the fact that not knowing where this is leading and being able to interpret her performance in so many different ways is actually a very good mark for her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the second one you'll find she's probably one of the stronger characters. Again, I'm remembering this from 2007. The Mirror reporter, what was her name?
Theresa May?
Not Theresa May.
Oh, okay. Mrs. Rook.
Was she the Mirror reporter?
From the
Mrs.
Mirror.
Rook. That was kind of a cool scene.
Yeah, but I mean, did you not also think, what kind of shitty security operation are they running in number 10 Downing Street? They're just allowing reporters from the Mirror in?
See, I was hoping the idea that this... Actually, it would have been cool to hear more, or, maybe there's a book in there somewhere, but Mrs. Rook's, or Miss Rook's backstory. How the fuck do you know all this stuff?
Yeah, she seems to be a Torchwood operative of some description.
That would be awesome. The Mrs. Rook files.
Imagine that spin-off series.
That's coming. Podcast land. Someone that's good at writing fan fiction. Make that happen.
Mm.
Yeah. The Rookwood files? It doesn't quite work.
She reminded me a little bit of a different character that we've encountered on New Who already, and I can't really...
It's not Harriet Jones, is it?
Yeah, it reminded me of Harriet Jones.
Well, it's Harriet Jones... Actually, it's Harriet Jones meets this other character, the chap that we meet in Rose. The guy who is in a shed and has, tons of paperwork. He's done his research on the Doctor, but in this case, she's done her research on the Master. Why? Okay, wait, hang on. I didn't think about this. Why wasn't she, manipulated by him? Is it just that she doesn't have a mobile phone that's tied to his network?
Possibly. Archangel is only 98%. Maybe she just lives in an area with very bad signal.
Okay, more things to talk about. Laser over sonic.
Oh!
Let me talk about the fucking mechanics of the laser screen over.
Yeah.
So it's based on the Lazarus experimented some description.
Was it?
That's what he said.
Does he say that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There are far too many Lazarus flashbacks. This is the episode we have chosen to remind people of every season.
It means nothing. It has. We don't need to know that this is some...
Well, it's very clearly calling back to the earliest point in... is it Stephen Moffat or is it Ross T. Davis?
Mark Gatiss.
Mark Gatiss, sorry.
No, he didn't...
He didn't write it.
He didn't write it.
Shit, who did write this? Hang on, I'm IMDbing it.
I think maybe RTD did write it.
It was RTD, yeah. So it's definitely calling back to the earliest point in time where RTD is standing there naked, covered in jam with red string, going, I figured it out, guys!
I figured it out now.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, this jam, it feels so good.
Soundbite, by the way. So, wait. So, any episode before then, they won't have thought of the Master, they won't have thought of the connection with Tish and so on and so forth. So, I guess calling back to that means kind
Something.
of showing off how advanced they are, how incredibly elaborate their plan was.
It is like I said before, it's a bad version of Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf was this really good stitching together effect.
Yeah, because they did that forever.
Exactly. And this isn't. The name Saxon is mentioned in that episode. This comes from Harold, but no one gave a fuck, and no one cares now. But let's get away from the idea of that, of the actual calling back.
Well, I don't know. The very earliest callback, just to anchor it, was, as they referenced, in the Christmas Arachnos invasion, where they said, yeah, Mr. Saxon's in charge, he's the Minister of Defence. So it has been brewing for a series.
Oh, I guess so. Still pretty.
They had a reference back to the Arachnos as well. Mm. We even got a little bit of footage from that episode, right? With the star in the sky, and he's like, oh, well, we've had a great star that descended upon us to kill us all. And Captain Jack complimenting the Doctor on his work in that episode.
Yeah. And for a year, we've done nothing about all the evident space threats surrounding us.
Oh, another question.
Because of the UN.
Oh, wait, hang on. I think maybe they've fucked something up in the timeline.
No.
Shortly after the Raxacoricophalopatorians turned up in London, took over the cabinet, everyone forgot about that. And no one could remember there having been any aliens, and that was the whole point of it, right? Like, we as humans... Donna Noble was the caricature embodying this because she was in a pool somewhere in Spain and therefore she didn't know that there was a Cyberman invasion. But people did not remember the last invasion when the next one came around, which was the Christmas invasion, right? And then no one remembered that when the next one came around, which was the next Christmas episode with the Star and the Rachnos.
That's because there was a whole media conspiracy to cover it up, but Harold Saxon, he told Britain the truth.
I mean, no one currently remembers Brexit. We're over it.
That's not happening. We are living in a dream world for every last day we can.
So how does it make sense for Saxon in his speech to reference these things that people no longer remember?
Because they do once you bring it up. They're like, oh, that is what happened in Norway.
Oh yeah, you're right. There was an army of ghosts.
Oh yeah, Libya. Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, our country was taken over by 52% of racists.
Actually, that story checks out completely. That is hideously close to the truth.
Isn't it?
So Nick, where were you trying to lead us?
Yeah. They're trying to lead us to the point that... So this laser screwdriver is set up to age the Doctor, or at least that's one of its main functions.
Yeah. Why?
What about 100 years? I mean, of all the iterations of the Doctor we've at least come to on Classic Who, he's already a few hundred years old.
Yeah. He doesn't age that well. He's only been in the Tennant form for a little bit.
Whatever. How old was he in?
You're right. Actually, you're right because he's 1,000 years old at the moment.
Yeah, and he's only had at that point 10 incarnations, so each one of them would have been about 100 years old on average.
Yeah, even more so because this is, I don't know if this is canonical, but the 8th Doctor in one of the audiobooks that we've even reviewed, an audiobook called Orbis, Paul McGann's 8th Doctor spends 800 years on the planet Orbis. And he doesn't age or die or anything.
And again, sorry about the call forwards, but a recent Haldy one where he's basically in a prison for 1 billion years.
Oh, but he doesn't age much in every iteration. He only ages maybe a few days or something. Right?
But this is my point.
In Heaven Sent, he's reset every single time.
Exactly.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. But still, generally speaking... when we turned up with Hartnell.
What about Matt Smith in A Town Called Christmas? Is that what it's called? The 50th anniversary?
Yeah, that one. So he doesn't necessarily...
No, he ages a shit ton.
500 years, a slow, pointless wooden death.
Yeah, but 500 years... I don't know. I'm basically saying here is that...
It doesn't really make sense.
100 years shouldn't make him look like a haggard... And also, why does he look like someone's stolen all his Werther's originals? So she just looks frowning. I'm frowning now.
So on IMDb, there's a bit of trivia about his makeup. Apparently they modelled his older person makeup after William Hartnell, which does not show at all. I mean, that's terrible in that case.
Yeah, okay. He's frowning because he hasn't had a toffee in a century.
I'll beat you by frowning. Shake harder, boy. Yeah, so that bit pissed me off. I didn't really understand the mechanics of that. I mean, and it gets worse in the second.
But also, why... Oh, I remember that, because he turns, tiny and, with it... Whatever.
He turns into Dobby.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I remember as well.
Let's leave that for next time, please.
Fine, but why does that happen? Because what I remember, and maybe this is something that they either retcon later on, or they just introduce willy-nilly later on, but as far as I recall, the Master wants to steal the future regenerations over the Doctor because he wants to have more than average Gallifreyan regenerations, right? So, does this factor in some way? Is this part of that plan?
Well, unless he's now, this iteration of the Master is just psychotic for the sake of it. It actually never really comes to fruition as to what he's up to.
Yeah, that's true. He has zero motivation. It's not even world domination because he basically just wants to destroy the world, right?
Because if he wanted world domination, he just does it with charm.
But it's sort of revenge, isn't it? I mean, he knows that the Doctor holds the Earth very dear, and by destroying humanity and this planet, he's hurting the Doctor.
Let's seek into this other book bit then. The Time War. Maybe it is revenge of the Time War, because he's worked out that the Doctor was the last person.
But he only found that out in this episode, from the Doctor, in fact. Ah, okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because he asked the Doctor, where's Gallifrey? And he said, well, you're the last one, so you must have
but he asked the Doctor saying, where's Gallifrey? And the Doctor says it burned. He said, it can't have burned. They can't all be gone.
Yeah, it's just denial, though, isn't it?
Maybe.
I like to think that he's already figured it out, and this is part of it. Because he is obsessed specifically with the Doctor. I mean, he has been hitherto.
Could desperation be part of it as well? Not necessarily desperation, but sort of lack of other options. Because the Doctor has, in some way, locked the TARDIS, right? He sabotaged the TARDIS at the end of Utopia, so that it could only travel between those 2 points in time and space.
Yeah. 100 million trillion years.
Mal
in the
Casario,
future,
and-
or Putney Bridge.
Right now.
Next to Greg's.
5 years ago, or whatever it was.
Yeah, you got Ryman to Greg's. In the end of the universe.
Exactly. So maybe it's the fact that the Master can't do anything else. Like, he can't go elsewhere and do whatever he wants to. He's just going to wreak havoc on here and now.
I guess so. I mean, I like the idea. Like I said, my siege into the Time War I thought that was a powerful scene.
Yeah.
And that is where I have the most affection for the Tennant Doctor, is the Time War subtext. The war criminal, Eccleston and Tennant both, war criminal subtext had a fucking boundless sense of, emotional rawness that didn't feel fake.
That is a great scene where they're on the phone together, and the Master's already been revealed as the one who looked into the vortex and went
schism.
mad. The schism.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think during that scene, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Martha, calls her bro Leo, and somehow regiates, and the Master somehow is just listening in, and he starts talking, and the Doctor grabs the phone and starts talking to the Master. Do you think at any point during that conversation, Leo just felt like saying, guys, I'm still here?
Yeah.
I'm still on the line.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I did think that too. I was just like, also, why did you think Brighton would save him?
Yes.
Oh no, he's outside the M25. Brighton, for our international listeners, isn't very far from
Nope.
It's old enough to drive 100-year-old cars there every year. The London to Brighton run. But my point was it was a really lovely dichotomy they set up where the Master had said into Vortex, gone mad. He'd been brought back as the perfect warrior by the Time Lords. The Doctor was the guy who ran away, and he was the guy who had to do the job the Master ran away from. I really like that.
Right. Okay, so the Master is the guy who could have been the Doctor.
Yeah.
Or at least was set up to be the ultimate weapon.
Yeah, I suppose.
What did you think of the Gallifrey shots?
On the mountains of tall and pointy, in the continent of ever so far away.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm
Lonely Hill. It's the loneliest of hills.
the 2 mountains of, what was it, knowledge and serenity. Or
It's a
something.
giant snow globe.
Solace and solitude and snow globe.
2 mountains, one called Solace and the other called Solitude.
So shit,
What's
isn't
the
it?
continent of, adventure or something?
Wild endeavour.
Oh, wild endeavour. Oh, God.
Full hilarious bullshit, right?
Oh, that's such a pretentious race.
Yeah, just the most,
Yeah, that is a hand wash right there, or a scented room candle.
Yeah.
Okay, still,
It's just a city without any digital cameras. We only do film. And we grind our own beans.
shallow depth of field everywhere. But still, that was a very nice montage as far as I'm concerned. So how would you now compare that to what in my mind is the worst montage hitherto on New Who, which is when the Doctor uses random trash he finds.
The MacGyver.
Yes, there's even that shot of him having clenching his teeth around a pencil as he's using trash to build a massive machine.
It's more the A-Team. It's more of an A-Team montage. Where they're just stuck in like a barn. It's like, what have we got? Well, there are some... over in this corner is some old agricultural equipment, and over this corner is a...
Massive cannon.
It's just a magazine of fucking guns.
Let's put these together. Every episode of A-Team, the same.
Yeah. Oh, God.
God, I love that show. Reboot it.
We're stuck in the armory. What do we do? After they figure out Archangel and the student, it's like, what do we do? It means we can fight, right? Right, Martha? Because right now you're just in a warehouse. What do you know about any of this?
Oh, but that scene also with Martha, it features the most unnecessary kick in the ovaries by the Doctor, where she just is too dim-witted to wrap her mind around what's the, is it the perception matrix or whatever it's called?
No, I'm over here.
Yeah, we spent way too much film on that. That just needed one wobble. We didn't need 5 wobbles.
Also, maybe just a slight effect rather than camera pans to the left.
I quite liked it.
I liked camera pan to the left.
Yeah, I thought it was
But
really clever.
what I did think is that it didn't pan to the left quick enough for me not to notice. Like, I'm looking at Drew right now, ladies and gentlemen, but I can still see Leon.
Through the magic of peripheral vision.
Well, if it had been like a Lord of the Rings Frodo thing where they put the part of the key, I guess he's like actually fractured the key now. Like if they put on this necklace made of the key and they just whoop, turn invisible, I would have been a little bit disappointed. I think the way that they
wanted to do that. What I wanted is for me not to be able to I intentively turn to the left.
Yeah.
So as you walk into my field of vision, I start turning. Rather than, wobble. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't quick enough to be believable.
Yeah. Well, okay. So why in that scene does the Doctor also need to tell her, to explain this, not just to her, but also to us? It's like when you really love someone and they don't even know that you exist. With the biggest fuck-off smirk on his face.
And it's like off camera for a few minutes. Sorry, just to be clear, like you and me.
like you and me.
Just to be clear.
Who are you again?
You are never going to hit this.
You're the one wearing the key in this situation. Just so okay.
Captain Jack in that scene recognizes that in her, right? And says like, oh, you as well. Does that refer to another companion in his mind or to him? I'm thinking to him as well.
Yeah. Defo. When has Captain Jack ever turned anyone or anything down?
Captain Jack wants to hit it from the back.
It's good, it rhymes, and so it works.
Sure.
I wanted more than just like pensiveness. Why did you all look just into the distance?
Well, I'm thinking Captain Jack doesn't limit himself to, one angle. He's omnisexual and, omnipositional.
Yes, and pan-penetrational.
How did that get a fucking Fuck you.
Alliteration.
Love that
It's
assonance.
like a giant bag of dicks.
He would if he could.
Okay.
I've got a point
Yeah, let's hear it.
going back to the Master in the Cabinet scene. I like the fact that I kept thinking, when I watched this twice, I kept thinking he had to swear. Like, he went, you fat, wet-faced, countryside alliance, bunch of bitters. Like, he basically said he wanted to say you fucking wankers. And I like that.
Okay. Sure.
Alright, let's get to, I wanted to, why does the BBC, or at least these set of writers, really wanted to dial up the whole Top Gear-esque fuck America? Like, what is that about?
Are you beginning with the newscasters or the president?
Let's go from newscasters, let's end with the president.
The American newscaster has been on Doctor Who before.
Ooh,
She was, I can't remember which episode this is. It's either the Raxacorica Falabatorian one or it's the Christmas Invasion. It's one of the ones where we get to see various news anchors and whatever.
One of my favourite stylistic tropes of all cinema.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember we had this conversation. It's something that we reviewed. It must be the Christmas Invasion. Did we do that one together? Or whatever. Exactly. I remember you making this point.
I love that.
This is how you know that the world is watching.
Yeah.
News anchors.
But to the point, for some reason, we're just like, oh, Americans think they're American and they can be American. Oh.
Well, are any other nations even involved in this?
Yes, there's a Chinese one.
Oh, really?
Saying
I don't remember.
in Cantonese, foolish Western nations believe they hold the balance of power. Ha ha ha.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. And
Nice one.
No, I don't know.
So loads of things are wrong with it. So at one point, the president, when he touches down, is like, "Well, we have measures at the UN to remove you from office." They don't exist. The UN doesn't. It can't affect regime change of any of its member nations. It's not a thing it can do, just ladies and gentlemen.
But he also talks about units. And it's, my first observation here, and I think I was then proven wrong in the episode, my observation was like, wait, hang on, is unit American now? But then like, oh, actually, UN is, the UN of unit is the UN, right? So I don't know if he's speaking from the point of view of America as world police. I think he might be
supposed to see it as America's world police, but the writing was clever enough for it to be...
To units, yeah, right, exactly.
it was a bit slapped you around the head with it. But I did like the way the British newscaster said, Mr. Saxon has given the American president the chance.
He's invited him.
Yeah, and the American one was like, the president has assumed the nation's manifest destiny.
Having said that, so where is the other president? Because this president introduced himself to the Toclafane. Also, how could he just look at our friends, the Toclafane, and they turn up? So they obviously they've obviously already established first contact.
Yeah, exactly.
To set up this TV bit. Anyway, but he introduced himself as president-elect.
Oh, does he? I watched this on my phone, man. It was really...
This isn't your job yet.
Wow. Yeah. I read a trivia page, though, that said that Russell T. Davies
doesn't know what president-elect means.
Precisely.
Really?
Precisely.
Really?
He used the term and only later realised, oh wow, that doesn't mean anything.
Does he think...
That doesn't mean what I thought it meant.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, I liked also that the president said, oh, will you just sit, talking to his lapdog, i.e. Tony Blair.
Oh,
Yes,
Toclafane.
Toclafane.
How can we talk about
Toclafane?
How can we talk Toclafane without spoiling this for Drew? Because I'm assuming, especially by the look on your face, that I remember this correctly.
Okay.
How about we start with silly lady, dead lady.
Okay, so it's...
I've got a question about
what
this.
I quite like, or at least... So they've done childlike register with adult voices, which is weird. That's sort of creepy. Yeah. Because the usual Doctor Who trope of make something creepy is make it childlike.
I think some of them had children's voices.
Maybe. But the dead lady was a man's voice.
Yes, absolutely. Where's my master? That was possibly a child.
Oh,
No,
super
I think that was it was a grown woman doing a childlike voice, which is creepy, rather than hearing the sound of children.
Another question about them. Why do they have both incredibly destructive lasers and tiny little knives?
Tiny little lives.
Knives.
Oh,
Just
knives.
in case they run out of laser juice. Do you know where the nearest laser station is?
Rejuicer.
Okay, other thing, and I wasn't because I was cooking at the time. I was watching this back, ladies and gentlemen. The thing that opens up to let them all in. What is that?
So that's that kind of touches upon my would-be next question. In answer to your question, that's the paradox machine that rips a hole in space and time and lets them through, right? I think that's what we are to infer from that.
Yeah.
I think
right?
if we go to explain more of my questions, we're going to ruin this for Drew.
That's probably true. But
it rips a hole in continuity, as I understand it.
of this show, maybe.
Yeah, in narrative having to make sense.
Oh, I want to ask a question, because I don't... Okay, fine. So, if they are... Nick, if they are who I think they are, how did they get then?
That's what I'm essentially asking with what is that fucking schism thing.
Oh, but they were there before the schism thing, right? They materialized in the cabinet, they materialized, everywhere.
I guess
right?
maybe the paradox machine was always working, but my issue is that I guess I don't understand what he doesn't. We don't get to talk about what a paradox machine is and what it does, because it sounds like it just maintains a paradox and doesn't necessarily transport anyone anywhere.
But doesn't the Doctor also say it's set to activate?
At 8:02.
Exactly. It's not on, it's set to activate at a certain time.
You know, this is exactly the same problem we had last RTD season finale, where a couple of Cybermen turned up while all the rest were still ghosts appearing for a couple of minutes when they cranked up the levers.
Oh, you're right. Actually, that's a fantastic parallel. Yes.
He has learnt nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe exactly. I mean, basically, the question here should be where did that initial Toclafane come from?
Maybe they're the Toclafane elect.
Okay, can we talk about the Valiant for a second?
As in the...
Avengers, whatever it's called.
Helicarrier.
Helicarrier, yes, exactly.
So the thing is that when I was watching this back, I thought, fuck, Unit are a lot like S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And the Helicarrier is a lot like this. And then I was trying to time it out in my head. It's like, when was the first appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics, which I don't know, it was probably in the 70s.
Yeah, certainly before 2008.
And when was the first Unit, and then when was because the Unit version...
Well, I don't think that's necessarily ripped off from anywhere, because tons of sci-fi shows and series and whatever will have a military presence.
Yes, no,
right?
I get that, but they diverge in theme. Like these two the Unit and S.H.I.E.L.D. that you see in Avengers and the Unit you see in this episode are very similar in
they're super similar, yeah.
For some reason, you wouldn't if it was S.H.I.E.L.D. and they had the helicarrier, they'd slot into this episode.
I'm assuming that the helicarrier is something that wasn't invented for the modern movies, but rather for the comics of the
It's an old
70s.
school. It's a comic book.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look it up. But I remember it before it turning up on screen.
But it may also be... maybe that's just another trope and we're not aware of it because,
makes sense.
Avengers is so ubiquitous at the moment.
Well, also, just in terms of military hardware, you have the ultimate seaborne vessel where planes launch off of. Where do you go with that? If you go under the water, well, there's not much to show there. If it's in the sky, holy balls!
Yeah, so actually maybe that's the thing. Maybe there are millions of iterations of this exact same craft.
Okay, maybe. But
in the public consciousness, certainly now...
certainly no. But even back then, I felt that way. In 2007, I felt, this looks like the last.
The thing is, 2007, I hadn't even heard of the Avengers. I never read the comics. I have no idea what they are, blah, blah, blah. So in 2007, I was thinking, this is badass, man.
Yeah. Also, I think it looks a lot less complex and, in a word...
It's on a TV budget, though.
Yeah, it's a lot less three-dimensional than the Avengers one, where there seem to be loads of decks, whereas this is basically flat with engines underneath. There's loads of runways with engines underneath.
Still... It's run by the World Police, which is this weird organisation that's vaguely American in nature.
Here's another thing. So this helicarrier reports to the unit, or UN, or whatever it does thing. And then Saxon, Master Saxon, says he designed it, every square inch.
Oh, that's a good point. Why?
Well, I mean, presumably the Americans have a fleet, and this was just the one nearest Britain?
Or possibly...
Why did he design it?
Well,
because he was the Minister of Defence. He was in charge of the... getting rid of the Rachnos and the...
And also, I'm assuming that unit was originally an English thing, even though it was maybe controlled by the UN in some way. I think originally it was a British organisation.
The Americans are always showing up to things late and claiming they did the whole thing.
Well, also, I mean, based it on the fact that classic Who... very, very English in nature. If they invented a world police, like paranormal world police, it's gonna be English. Fine, call it UN whatever, UNIT. UNIT now sounds like a bunch of computer nerds working at the UN, but like, there were a couple of episodes set in Paris.
No, actually.
Were there that many episodes set in America?
Because, Moonbase.
You always refer back to the Kid Peddler episodes,
yeah, the
man.
Kid Peddler, all the Kid Peddler ones with an international crew of something.
Yes, but Units had its most, like, not its beginnings. Its beginnings are towards the end of Troughton. I'm approaching that, by the way, with solos. But the initial proper run was with Pertwee, and that was during a phase when Pertwee, the Third Doctor, was stuck on Earth. He couldn't travel through space and time. He was stuck on Earth and basically had to deal with whatever aliens and robots and shit from outer space and time vortices everywhere came to Earth. More specifically, came to England. So all of the unit action that we got to see was on, like, the rolling hills of wherever. It's like on the South Downs. That's basically where unit operated.
I love the way you say South Downs.
How do you say South Downs?
I don't know, but you just put emphasis on different... The South Downs!
Oh, sorry, I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But I think original unit was super duper English. We'll see very soon. I reckon in approximately 3 months' time, Who Back When will be there. Make that 4 months' time.
I'll tell you what, those were the days, when we can afford more than World Community Support Officers. Real police.
Real police?
Yeah, real world police.
Those are the days.
Oh, I have a question. Who's the boy band?
Answers on a postcard, ladies and
Can
gentlemen.
anyone remember?
So we have the boy band and we have Sharon Osbourne.
Sharon Osbourne, yeah.
And the boy band shows up a little bit
basically bang...
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait.
And Anne Widdecombe, who also said that she would bang Harold Saxon.
My note is a Saxon video in which Sharon Osbourne suggests the master is welcome to finger blast and or give her crabs at his leisure, because the soundbite is...
I'm voting Saxon. He can tick my box any day.
And there's the unidentified boy band, which would be a fucking great name.
Unidentified boy band?
Yeah.
Let's start that boy band.
Let's.
I can't sing or play music for shit. I can pose.
And then Anne Widdecombe shows up.
Yes, a Conservative MP of many years standing.
A celebrity MP.
Yeah, I didn't expect it.
Anne Widdecombe does a good turn.
Okay.
Well, that's all I had. It was just, nobody remembers. I mean, could it be Busted? Were they around back then?
Shall we find out? Shall I IMDb this shit?
do that.
Anne Widdecombe is there, BBC Newsreader is there, blah blah blah.
If you are this boy band,
Please
Right in.
who back when? You obviously have nothing else to do.
waiting for that royalty check to come in for what, several years now?
So I'm talking out of my ear hole because this boy band is not on IMDb. But it does remind me of one thing. Tish. Tish is in the credits. We haven't talked about Tish.
And the relevancy of her having to be in every plot.
Yeah. How did that help anyone? Why did she need to work for Lazarus?
I don't know. The Master says, "Oh, do you think that was an accident?" It's like, yeah, because it seemed pointless.
No. If Martha's going to come back from the year 11 billion trillion, then the first person she's going to get in touch with is Tish.
Okay, but also, you're the Prime Minister,
Yeah.
and you're on telly she'll know that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and you control the global phone.
He's already outdone himself, like, outside of HRing for the Lasersaurus.
Yeah.
It's entirely unnecessary.
Absolutely. And also, yeah, to keep her on staff, there's no need.
And by the way, how long after that is this? Like, how long ago did Tish work for Lasersaurus?
It's got to be a matter of months.
Right? And we get to see... Didn't think about this before. Did we also get to see the clip of Martha's parents being, like, sitting at home by the phone, just waiting for Martha to call with, I guess, like, the Master's equivalent of the Secret Service, like his undercover dudes, in the room with them. The exact equivalent scene that we got to see in The Lazarus Effect. How fucking long have they been in Martha's mum's kitchen, just waiting for her to call?
42?
No,
No,
Lazarus Effect.
Lazarus Effect.
Oh, okay.
End of Lazarus.
No, 42.
Oh, is it end? Oh, is it 42?
42, because in Lazarus Effect, she's there in person.
Oh, you're right. Yes,
You are
yes,
right,
yes.
Bruce.
Oh, well done, Drew Backwhen.
Also, I'm going to use one of Nick's favourite words, not register. Leverage. The Master has her family, including Tish, in 10 Downing Street where he can grab them all quickly. Leverage. To bring Martha and the Doctor in.
So do you think...
Feel free to suck a bag of it.
So do you think that he got Tish employed as the whatever marketing person or whatever she was, like the head of PR for Professor Lazarus, because he was thinking, actually, maybe I'll nab the Doctor now, and then he just didn't?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is literally all jam and red stringed way after the fact.
Everyone just needs to go Brighton. Brighton is obviously the safe zone. It's the green zone.
I don't know. All this series, I've been waiting for more glimpses of Martha's family. Now they come back, and I'd like to see them again.
Yeah.
It didn't make
I assume that we will.
Do we all hate her mother?
Yes. Oh,
She is evil.
what a massive
She's not
B
evil,
word.
she just seems incompetent.
Not just that. I mean, she's such a
Manipulative,
turncoat.
surely. Yeah.
Such a turncoat.
I would like to see more of Dad. I like Dad at the beginning, and I
Yeah.
like Dad now.
He was really fun and not charming. He was really fun in the first time that he showed up, whenever that was.
Putting his foot down.
Yes, he's like, oh, put my foot down.
Foot's coming down.
Whereas in this episode, it's your fault, all of you. You voted for Brexit.
Which
you did this.
is exactly how I felt after the last general election.
Yeah.
Dawn, you're I literally regarded everyone I walked by on the street with suspicion. There is one scene where the mother actually shows the full regret on her face as to what have I done, not just to her child, but
Is that on the Avengers plane?
that's on the helicarrier, and the 700 million people buying it.
You have a couple of minutes of do.
Here come the drums!
Baby.
Oh, wait. Oh, please, can we talk about that
Why have we
song?
not talked about this? It was a popular song for about a fortnight in 2007. Voodoo Child. You are my voodoo child, my voodoo child. That's some of the lyrics. And it was bad at the time, and we left it.
It's certainly bad now. It hasn't aged well
And
at all.
what it smacks of is, again, the BBC of how out of touch they are with youth culture in general. What would have been much better and a lot less, a lot more, a more timeless effort is to have picked a popular song
from the 60s or 70s. Something that actually is still around after decades worth of, whatever, being out in the ether in 2007, 2008.
Rather than the most jarring nonsense start.
Right then, yeah.
Well, I guess they couldn't afford REM's royalty fees, could they?
Well, okay, have you guys seen the new Star Trek Beyond? Okay, do you intend to watch it?
Really?
Okay, well, earmuffs anyone who doesn't want the teeniest, tiniest spoiler for Star Trek Beyond. There's a scene there where they play, very much like the first Star Trek rebooted 2009 one, where, they played the Beastie Boys in 2009. In the new one, they also play the Beastie Boys, but they deliberately play the Beastie Boys in one scene, and it's kind of works. This immediately, because I saw Star Trek Beyond not too long ago. It's still in the cinemas now, I think. I saw it recently, and this immediately made me think of that. Oh wow, this is how the same thing is implemented, but poorly.
Oh, so poorly. Because I think I said in Utopia, that just this horrible sound of drum effect, which has been building, and actually this crescendo of it was awesome, like the tapping.
I think that works. You think that's horrible?
No, that works, but then it comes a cropper here. It comes a cropper with the fucking music, the song choice.
Yeah, but there's no resemblance to that rhythm whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Why not pick something with a massive drum,
or a gong or something?
Exactly.
Also, this is RTD trying to make the crossover, isn't it? From Doctor Who is nerd cool to just out and out cool.
Oh wow.
So heavy.
All the jocks of the world gather around Doctor Who for once because your favourite song is on it. No, it's terrible. And also imagine the director and the actress who plays Lucy Saxon, the director telling her, "You really have to. I'm going to say bop to this music. You really have to like this music. You're digging it. Just feel it with your very core." And then her standing there going, "Oh yeah, I'm going to tap my thigh. I really like the song."
Alexandra Moen does a really fucking good job.
Yeah, well done. Well done, Alex.
Brought ourselves to do. But you were leading on to a good point, which is that 700 million people are buying it.
Which has to be the biggest body count.
Absolutely. Number 2 being what? The Battle of Canary Wharf? In New Who, anyway?
In New Who, certainly. I mean, we haven't been through all classics, so I don't know if a whole planet buys it or whatever. And certainly
You know what? Probably.
Definitely the biggest, or at least, I say definitely, hitherto, of all the things I've watched, the biggest human body count.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no Daleks died in the last season finale. A few Cybermen, maybe, and one person got electrocuted that we saw, and everything else was off screen.
Wait, hang on. What did happen to the Daleks at the Battle of Canary Wharf?
They were just sucked into the void, weren't they?
So doesn't that kind of mean that they did buy it?
Yeah, but
they're all still together.
But actually, I think the one guy that got Daleked was, like you said, it's like a sample size. I think we're supposed to be like, that one guy is 10,000 guys.
Yeah, no, I suppose. 9,999 other cameras that we can't...
But in our review of that, I did mention I watched the webisodes, the mini-series of webisodes that covered the actual Battle of Canary Wharf. And even though you don't get to see people dying all over the place, there's still, it's just action. It's just, crazy turmoil and war. And you definitely imagine that thousands of people are buying it.
Yeah, but they cut all that out. So whereas in this one...
It was available on the internet where children can't find it. Wait, what? But
This one, they're like, and this capital city is going to be destroyed. And also this one. Well, not destroyed, decimated. Used in a very proper...
Literal, yeah.
Yes, absolutely correct. Good job, RTD.
Yeah, finally.
What that means.
Okay, boss, do we know this? I mean, okay, you and I don't remember this, Drew, but Nick, you remember this from part 3, and please don't spoil this necessarily, but this is the cliffhanger of this episode, right?
Please don't spoil this. I've had a bad enough day.
Yeah, I'm going to ask it anyway. Please don't answer this. But, do we know that a tenth of the human population is going to die? Or is this just, for all we know, someone, Mickey Ricky, we need to talk about Mickey Ricky. Mickey Ricky might turn up and, I don't know, some signal is transmitted that stops them.
I can't remember the exact specifics of the beginning of the next episode, but I think we're supposed to, self-contained within this episode in the finale...
A tenth is actually killed.
A tenth is killed. I think that's the point.
I like the Doctor's line... the Master's line delivery there, where he goes, take a tenth. Take away a tenth.
Well, see,
It's so calm. It's so just like, blasé.
What's interesting
Fantastic.
is that's the juxtaposition of him not taking away the full 100% of the Time Lords and Daleks who ran away versus the Doctor's ability to do that. So, like, genocide is a big theme here.
But also, in a way, it's worse, because the 90%, not one of those people is going to be untouched by the untold and unprecedented scale of suffering.
And also, I definitely got the feeling of, this is the Master. This is like the Master just getting started.
This is
it's not like, I'm going to take a death and then I'm out of here. It's like, I'm going to string this along. You're going to die over a matter of years.
Well, this is the turning the screw. How I interpreted this is you took away something I love, the Doctor.
Yeah.
I'm going to take something away that you love.
Yeah. Bit by bit, starting with a 10th. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a fantastically dark bit of poo.
Yeah, this is him. The Doctor is hostage, and he's cutting off his fingers one by one.
Yeah,
posting
exactly.
them back to him.
Exactly. Okie dokie. Is there anything else that we absolutely positively need to talk about right now? Bear in mind, we might be able to return to some of these points in part 3.
I think we should table quite a lot of it for the resolution.
Yeah.
Yes. Bit of trivia though. Did anyone notice the coat Mr. Saxon was wearing?
Oh,
on the
no.
runway?
No.
When he talks to the US president and does his zipping of the mouth thing, which I thought was great.
That was very good.
Was it made out of Patrick Troughton?
No. Reverse the polarity of your direction. Think forward from that and watch that scene back and think, where have I seen a guy wearing a snazzy coat with red on the inside?
Is that a Capaldi coat?
What? Really? Very. Oh, wait, hang on. So are you saying that they modelled the Capaldi uniform after one of the Master's first appearances?
Alright, this is just your interpretation, or is this a real...
That's what I saw on a trivia page.
Oh, interesting.
A trivia page, ladies and
On the
gentlemen.
IMDb.
You can look that up.
If only anyone could edit that page.
I then looked, and yes, it's a pretty dead ringer. Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very cool.
Also, the Master offers Dirty Lucy Saxon a jelly baby.
Yes, we've got a Tom Baker reference. Very cool.
So they're really blurring the lines between the two Time Lords.
Yeah.
Self-referencing in any direction possible here.
Definitely. Can I bring up one last thing? It's in my notes. I completely forgot about this. One last thing before we round off and go to ratings. Mm-hmm. When they go back to Martha's pad, and incidental trivia, the TV is made by Magpie Electronics. But,
nice.
And behind the TV, we have a cartoon fucking bomb, which is ridiculous.
I know, I've got, let me just jump in right there.
Okay.
It's like, and a medical student, which is when Saxon is reading up all the...
Quickly, look behind the TV!
It's like, as soon as I know I'm being observed, I think, bomb behind TV. That's my thought. I don't think...
Yeah. And let's make sure that it's like lipstick red sticks of dynamite tied to an alarm clock.
How is that the immediate thought? How is that the immediate thought?
But also, that scene is just rife with plot holes. Did the Master time his speech he would make that reference 5 seconds before the bomb goes off? Although, when they
and was the bomb just going to go off regardless without them in the room?
And when they turn the telly round, the bomb has 2 seconds left to go on it. They have time to all stand up, leisurely leave the room. The Doctor grabs his coat, they get down outside, they go back to the bomb, and it says 1 second. And it's crying out loud.
You're not even trying at this point.
This was easily rectifiable.
Maybe there's a minute.
They weren't minutes. They weren't minutes at all! Because then you see it go, 1, 0, boom!
Maybe you just came in at the wrong...
No, maybe they don't know how numbers work. Or time. Because what does this series have to do with time?
So we've got time, or we've got time, numbers, or presidents. Those are the things that RTD doesn't understand.
Alright, shall we jump into ratings?
Reviews.
Okay, I'm going to start with the Master. The Masters is the heart of the bit, I think.
Yeah.
This 2-parter.
Slash 3-parter.
2-parter. And actually, this is, rewatching it is a real... It's a good performance by Johnson. It's maniacal in all the right places. 1 or 2 slightly overly comic bits for me, I think, but I mean they accomplish scale. 700 fucking million people buy it. They go for the big emotional rawness with the genocide of the Daleks and the Time Lords, so there's gravitas to the situation. I quite like those episodes where the Doctor's on the run, or clandestine, or, without the use of all of his gadgets, gizmos, and wherewithal. Like, he's in a world that is hostile in every turn. All the CCTV, the mobile and phone network, everything's against him. Stacked odds, but proper stacked odds. So that was cool. Things I didn't necessarily like. Not a strong Martha episode. Not a strong... there were a couple of scenes there where she was like, she's all about the family, but she's relegated to that. That's the sort of her function. She has no agency beyond that at this point. Captain Jack was nice, like a sage companion. He was someone that the Doctor could actually talk to about stuff. Like, Captain Jack is...
But he had nowhere near as much to do as in the last one.
No, it's true, but things like he knew what a paradox machine was before.
How?
Yeah, well, quite.
We said the opposite thing at the same time.
Yeah, quite how, but that was his interplay, that was his function. That fucking song. That song really takes real points off. It's not shallow. That really fucks with me. Mm-hmm. That just dates the whole thing. The helicarrier, the whole Americanophobe aspect of the episode.
That was pre-Obama, though. Remember what we had to put up with pre-Obama?
That's real. I didn't even think about that angle. Yeah. So that guy's supposed to be some version of Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Looking back on it, he's anachronistically white.
At that point, there had been no other title.
Oh well, yes.
Anyway, so I'm going to go with a slightly raised version because actually better than what I thought it was in 2007. I'm going to go 3.
Okay.
3 flat.
Okay. You or me?
Do you want to do it?
Okay, fine. I was very pleasantly surprised to find that John Sims' Master was way better than he was at the end of Utopia. And for me, that already sort of a priori raises the rating of this episode. Because I really enjoyed this Master. He's crazy and maniacal, but he's so, psychotically calculated. I like that. Even though, as we've already discerned over the past hour, a lot of those calculations don't add up to much. But I like it. I think he does a great job. Loved Lucy Saxon. Even though I cannot wrap my head around what she's all about, really enjoyed her inclusion. That one scene, well, we haven't talked about this, but that Ace Ventura level sound isolating door in Westminster.
I thought that was funny. That really tickled me.
Actually, that was funny, yes, but it's... okay, well, regardless, something just sprang to mind. Okay, so that covers the Master, love him. Or the Saxons, love him. The Doctor was good. I enjoyed that there was a little bit of almost Ecclestonian darkness lent to the character in this one because of, well, as I guess mostly through the medium of the flashback, we went to the same academy and then he stared into the vortex and he just shat himself and became a crazy person.
The untempered schism.
Oh, God.
Different from a vortex.
Untemper my schism later on. Anyway.
Because the Master used to be Liam Gallagher. Little Liam Gallagher.
Actually, another Star Trek reboot reference. It was like watching young Spock, in a way, on Vulcan.
Yes.
And in a way, this is where Doctor Who, New Who, did what the Star Trek reboots tried to better.
Hey!
I think this worked out really well, whereas in 2009, watching Young Spock was terrible. So I appreciated that. And actually, I'll give this a few more decimal points just for that. I loved the Gallifreyan flashback. I love that it harkens forward to what we then get to see with Capaldi. And do you remember that episode where he remembers himself as a child having that shitty nightmare of someone, you know how everyone wakes up in the middle of the night and you dream of someone grabbing your foot? No one dreams that dream. Only you dream that dream. But do you remember that episode, we finally got a little taste of this was the Doctor as a boy. I had completely forgotten about it. We got it in 2007/8, whenever this was, as well. I loved it. You already said it very well. Martha she was very meh in this one, and I cannot believe that the cliffhanger of this episode sort of hinges on her. All of a sudden she's, Brad Pitt in World War Z. She's the one who's going to have to walk the earth. But, okay, so here's why I'm putting it down. The Master's plan is wrought with logical plot holes. How did one or possibly even more Toclafane transport themselves, just beam into the cabinet meeting, I think it was, or at the very least, just next to him, pop up and go, hi, is it time yet? And then pop back out. How could they do that if What we actually needed was a tear in space and time.
I got it.
Go for it.
I'm going to write this. So the Master, now back in the 21st century, makes a couple of these Toclafane from things that are present.
From pencils and...
But can't make that many, so he needs these...
It's a valiant attempt,
I know.
My
but I don't think so.
These are just the pre-Toclafane.
Proto-flame. It's a good effort. Well done, chaps, but it doesn't work for me because they beam in the exact same way as the others beam in. Like, how is it possible? How could even 3 of them beam in and off the president before we've had the paradox machine? That doesn't make sense to me.
I was about to say holograms, but no, they actually murder somebody.
Yeah, they kill him.
Holograms without the safety setting.
Oh, so you're thinking TNG?
Like, yeah.
It's the Bugsy Malone part of First Contact.
Exactly.
First Contact.
Yeah,
Oh,
done.
you know, take it back. This is episode 5.0. Also, just going to ham-fist a bit of trivia, which we failed to mention, but we did talk about this off mic. Mickey Ricky turns up in this one in a weird soundbite as the voice of London.
This is London, Baron. This is London calling. What do we do? They're killing us. The Toclafane, they're killing us. They're killing us.
It's interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing or seeing a resolution for that.
London calling. Come in, London.
Regardless, I can't remember what I gave Utopia, but I'm going to give this one a... Fuck it, I'm going to echo yours. I'm going to give it a 3.0. Fist bump. Inaudible fist bump. Yeah, 3.0. Drew, take it away, man.
Okay, in this episode, there are lots of flashes of the RTD wit. It very much sort of travels along a similar trajectory to the last season-ending multi-parter. Slathered in jam. Oozing out of every crevice and plot hole.
Russell T. Gravies.
Hope he listens to the show. Hey, Russ.
I thought the music was good, although it was applied with the subtlety of a sledgehammer to the earballs.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you there.
You're just wrong.
Do you mean the sound, like the
song
score,
was good?
or that fucking song?
No, I do not mean that song at all.
Okay.
I mean whenever the Master's about to go loopy and it's sort of going...
Yes, and the beat, I agree with you.
That's with the drums, though, right? That's with the actual... ba-ba-ba-bum,
Yeah.
ba-ba-ba-bum.
All
That's
that.
great. That's what they should have done.
But
Yeah.
that fucking pop song from 2007 that no one will ever remember.
Yeah, okay. Just chill. Johnson was a gleeful, despotic psycho. He was often really funny, I thought, and much better than I thought I'd be prepared to admit, given my undying love for Jacoby and the burning sense of injustice that
I think you need to see a doctor.
I will take with me to I thought Martha does all right in this one, or I thought Freema did all right in this one with what Martha was given to do. I thought she was allowed to show some independence from the Doctor, although why she just materialises on a hillside with billions of death machines flying above her.
Ignoring her.
Utterly.
Like the Doctor.
Oh my goodness.
She's still got a perception filter on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is
I'll
that
take
it?
off.
Wait, hang on. Oh, okay, I've got a question after your rating.
Okay, well, I'll have an extra point one to my score, because that was going to take some points off.
That's pretty clever, actually. I didn't think about that.
Okay,
Still 3.0.
I thought Tennant did well in his big scene with Johnson, but he was overshadowed by what Sim brought to the table, and unfortunately this is the second episode running. David Tennant has been the second most compelling Time Lord.
Ooh.
Yeah. But overall, it's strong
Tennant
enough.
slam.
Yeah. The 3-parter, which this absolutely is, means we're spared the letdown of the denouement for a week, so 3.3.
3.3! Nice one.
Nice use of
Yes, good pronunciation as well. Here's the question I was going to ask. So the Doctor has taken his TARDIS key, right? And he's cut it in 3 bits.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're all wearing a part of
He's
it.
got 3 spares. Or
Remember
2
how
spares.
they got into the TARDIS? How? Would the Master leave an unlocked TARDIS aboard the Avengers spaceship?
Paradox, so he doesn't need to.
Yeah, the Doctor can't touch it. He says, nobody touch this. The Master knows that.
Well, nobody touch it because it's hardwired into the TARDIS and it might blow up. But I'm just talking about the front door. How did he get into the TARDIS?
Yeah.
He's broken his key. Does he have many keys? Actually, maybe he does have many keys. Because he occasionally gives a spare key to a companion.
He gave a key to Martha.
Okay, problem solved.
Yeah, you going to up that rating now?
No, 3.0. He probably went, Martha, hey, I don't even know that you exist. Give me back that key I gave you, I'm going to cut it in
What's
bits.
this key doing dangling like 4 foot off the ground? I'm just going to pick it up.
And there you have it.
Ladies and gentlemen, well done for getting to the end of this episode, because we barely did.
Join us next time in New Who for the conclusion of this indubitably 3-part arc in
The Last of the Time Lords.
Goddamn right. The next Classic Who review is going to be
The Mind Robber.
That's right! And the next Audio Who review is going to be
Bing bong, the Cannibalists. Bing bong.
Thank you, Future Pumpkin. Until then, why not high-five us online? We will high-five you right back. Nick, can people follow you? Are you on the tweets?
I am. At Nicolele.
Nikulele.
Drew, are you on the tweets?
Why, yes, I am. What an appropriate question.
I'm found at Drew back when, cause it sounds like who back when.
And me, I am Pumpkin.
Here's a soundbite of JD singing it.
Ponken, Pumpkin.
Thanks, JD. Be rad and excellent to each other. Catch you in the next one. Shamalama ding dong and rock on.
Bye.
See, I didn't say cha-cha with that one.
Kablamo! Did you enjoy the show? Then please do what the cosmos compels you to and spread the gospel of Who Back When. Tell your friends. Don't have any friends? No problemo. Tell some strangers. Like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Who Back When. All in one word. Are you on Google Plus? Then find us on Google Plus. That's plus Who Back When. And when you do, tell us why you're on Google Plus. Who Back When just got its very own Twitter account. No lie. So give us a follow. You guessed it. That's @Who Back When. All in one word. Check us out on SoundCloud, vote us up on Reddit, listen to us on Stitcher, and head on over to our website, whobackwhen.com, where you can leave a comment, submit a review of your own, and peruse our visual index of aliens, monsters, and more, which increases in kablamos with every episode. And lastly, give us a rating and review on iTunes. Not only would it make us super chuffed, and it really, really would, but as thanks, we will transmigrate your iTunes nom de plume into the credit list of trailers for fake Doctor Who audiobooks produced by Who Back When. Have a poke around our bonus episodes to make more sense of that. That's it. Rock on and be rad and excellent to each other. Catch your earballs in our next Classic Who review, New Who review, or, still funny, Audio Who review. Ciao.
Who back when?